Okay, my video or my article was Personal Reflections on Education in Samoa by Tilianamua Afamasaga, and started with the questions that she proposed about education in Samoa. One is, what is the concept of schooling in schools in the Pacific? 2, what are the roles of the teachers and community expectations? 3, what is the role of languages in school? 4, what are the differences in schedules and practices? 5, what are the values and aspirations in Samoa? And 6, why are our structural issues not being solved? She proposed these questions because things are not going, I guess, what she's trying to portray is things are not going exactly as the education system would like them to in the education of Samoa. So for the first one, the concept of schooling and schools, her quotes were, "A totally foreign import threatening to transform our societies beyond recognition. The challenge has always been to Samoanize this institution so that it can be accommodated within the transformation of Samoan society. The hardest part has been to make our people accept and recognize all that is worthwhile learning, so it becomes a task of education to carry out such promotional work. The solution is indigenizing schooling, or making Pacific schools our own by not only concluding Pacific cultural knowledge in our curriculum, but also rethinking the structures of schooling as a Western import into our systems." Next, we have the roles of the teachers and community expectations. Poor conditions such as 1, shortage of resources, 2, low salaries, and 3, misunderstood community expectations. Teachers do acquire the knowledge and certain skills and attributes which are desired by other professions, but do not necessarily fulfill the community expectations. Teachers, when qualified, become marketable in the metropolitan countries, and there is no way Samoa can compete against the salaries offered in New Zealand and Australia. The solution to these problems: provide teacher education programs that encompass not only the discipline of teaching, but also the expectations of the communities. Next, the role of languages in school. One of the hardest tasks to be addressed by the educational planners in Samoa is that of conceptualizing a school language policy, that is, the retrospective roles of English and Samoan as languages of instruction and as subjects in the curriculum. Our languages give rise to our thoughts and our philosophies, and also give expression to our mal, our unique souls. We merely gesture at language research in our Pacific communities. When Samoan ministries or departments of education allocate consultancies for language work, they give them to overseas consultants instead of the local people. The solution: develop vernacular language policies that reflect the importance of these languages to the identity of the Pacific people, not only at home, but also in the communities of metropolitan countries. The differences in schedules and practices. The length and duration of learning time, concepts of what students are supposed to be able to do after a period of learning, derive from Western pedagogy. The ability of our schools to be able to have students repeat classes is determined by the World Bank and IMF monetary policies. Measured against such foreign concept of time and schedules, we often fall short. Is it any wonder? The solution: validate our schedules and practices in the institution of the school. The values and aspirations in Samoa. There is a need to constantly re-examine the purposes of education in our societies. The aspirations of the Pacific people to be participants in the consumer world of the developed countries can often be better realized in metropolitan countries than at home. It makes sense to have an economic policy that includes as a strategy people as an export commodity. The solution: examining the sacred cows within their belief system and maintaining cultural values through the use of challenging cultural goods. Next, we have tackling structural problems with curriculum solutions. At the end of 8 years of primary schooling with almost universal school enrollment, children were selected for entry into 3 secondary schools, and all other children, about 80%, went to junior high schools. The curriculum was designed to enable a select number to move into senior secondary education, but the majority would leave school and become gainfully employed in village economic activities. The outcome of such a dual system was that only about 3% of the total post-primary enrollment was able to achieve senior secondary level. The solution? Provide appropriate solutions to problems that arise. In other words, you cannot, like she said, tackle structural problems with curriculum solutions. You must provide structural solutions. So if we go back to the original questions, this whole article is about the problems that are arising in education in Samoa. First is the concept of schooling in schools in the Pacific. If we don't understand the concept of schooling in schools in their country, we cannot suggest the proper solutions. 2, the roles of the teachers and community expectations. If the teachers don't understand their roles or the expectations the community has for them, they can't fulfill those roles or those expectations. They need to have a set expectation for all teachers to accommodate to. 3, what is the role of languages in school? If they don't have a set curriculum based on English or Samoan or both, then they can't teach the students exactly what they need to know. So they need to have a set curriculum on the languages. 4, what are the differences in schedules and practices? Obviously, if the length and duration of the time are deriving from the Western pedagogy, then it's not serving the Samoan people to its greatest extent. Every community, every area in the world has its own learning capacity and understanding. And so without proper length and duration or understanding of their communities, we can't properly educate them. Values and aspirations. If we don't understand their values or their sacred cows, quote unquote, and we don't understand their aspirations, then we cannot provide goals for them that will allow them to do well in their education. They need to meet certain goals. And finally, structural issues not being solved. If they're solving structural problems with curriculum solutions, then those structural problems are not being solved at all. They're just being pushed aside while curriculum is being changed, and therefore confusing not only the students but the teachers. So without those proper structural solutions, nothing is being solved.